Hello. This, in case you haven't noticed this geek over here is a big horror fan. Today, let's do another horror-themed tag. We'll do Mary McWilliams horror life tag. There is a link to the original video down below in the description. And without further ado, let's go to the questions. Question number 1. What was the first horror movie you remember seeing? Scream. It was the first Scream movie. I remember seeing it back in 1997 on primetime TV, because it was the 90s and there were no such things as too violent movies for the prime time. And I remember being scared out of my wits because it was my first horror movie, as well as I was intrigued by the analysis of the rules of horror movies and how it self-referenced itself. And I thought it was very smart, and yeah. I don't like this thing at all today, but it's kind of fun learning that there are rules in horror, and that was something that piqued my interest. Question number 2. What was the first horror book that you remember reading? Well, assuming we're not talking about spooky tales like Rip Van Winkle and the Headless Horseman, then I guess the first horror book I remember reading was a collection of Howard Phillips Lovecraft stories. It was some of his collaborations, stories he co-wrote with other authors or for other authors, along with some August Derleth collaborations. And yeah, I was intrigued by it. I loved it. Question number 3. What is the movie that made you a horror fan? That's kind of tricky. I don't think it was Scream. I think that the horror movie that made me a horror fan was Suspiria. I was watching horror movies, of course. I was very intrigued by horror movies and I've watched a lot, but I saw that movie in my 20s, I think, and I was intrigued by what I was seeing. There were so many. It was surreal. It was amazing seeing this movie, and its atmosphere, the vivid colors, it just blew my mind. Question number 4. What is the book that made you a horror fan? Well, it was the collected works of Howard Phillips Lovecraft. After I read the collaborations, I hunted down his short stories and I was reading them voraciously, and I was intrigued and hooked, and I just loved it. Question number 5. What is your favorite horror movie of all time? I'll probably also go with Suspiria, because that's the movie that is so many things, and I think the first 15 minutes of this movie is perfection. The entire movie is great. It's violent, it's a dark fairy tale, it's got some very interesting ideas like transitioning from our world to a fairy tale nightmare, and how it's portrayed in this movie. Everything about it is great, and there are so many subtle hints you miss out the first time and you get them in repeat viewings. It's amazing. Question number 6. What is your favorite horror book? I'll probably say that my favorite horror book, it's not favorite exactly, but I think I have to choose one horror book. It's The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum, because that book is just so horrifying, and yet I feel that it's very bleak, and you come out of this book as a better person. It just plays with your head. It makes you feel guilty for reading it, and not, you can stop the things happening in this book if you close it, but you cannot do that. Exactly like the main character in this book. It's a masterpiece in horror, and if you can take it, read this book, and then come here and start downvoting and telling me what an awful person I am. Question number 7. What is your favorite horror trope? That's a tough one. I think my favorite horror trope is getting from our world to a twisted version of our world. Sort of like the Upside Down in Stranger Things, or Suspiria, how we get to the Black Forest and the Dance Academy and how different this is, and in Evil Dead They go to the cabin. I think the idea of transitioning of well, yes, some people like portal fantasy. I like portal horror and dislike portal fantasy for some reason. But yes, the upside down is definitely a trope I love in horror. Question number 8. Why do you love horror? That's a tough question. I love horror because it's intense, because everything goes. There are no guaranteed happy endings or happily ever afters. Sometimes you wish for the worst to happen. It makes your blood pumping and feel this sweet adrenaline and the joy of watching a blood sport where nobody's hurt. Unless, of course, you're watching Cannibal Holocaust. It's safe. You just close the book, you turn off the TV, and you're safe. Unless you've watched The Ring and you expect some more to come out of the television. It didn't happen to me. It happened to somebody else. Somebody I know. Okay, after watching The Ring on the movies, I came home and slept like a bird. I was not wide awake expecting the ghost to come out of the TV. No, that was not me. So that was the Horror Life tag. Hope you liked this video. And if you're interested in this tag, do it yourself. Feel free to have yourself tagged. I'm not tagging other people. I'm not this kind of person. And I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.